our vibration is the new vibration, is the new vibration that will create the new society, the new world. And so the more we can accept that we are the new and we can relax into it, the more our vibration will be full and then can stream out and start influencing the world.
I find the most fulfilling thing for me in the whole world is the moment when there's a meeting and a connection between myself and another person, and that the energy just lifts and we go out of the normal kind of blah blah, sleepiness, and then there's this spark of life and juice.
I think the most urgent question people have regarding Indigo is what are Indigo people? This is a term so many people use now, but nobody really can tell you or tells you what Indigos are, how they behave.
We see a couple things. We see first that the changing of an age, the changing of a time, brings in not only a whole new energy pattern and a new vibration, but it brings in also a new soul group. That literally there are different groups of souls that are in incarnation at during different periods of time. So that a new soul group is coming in right now. And that the qualities of these people that they carry is, first of all, the third eye is very active, which means that they have an interior perception. Second, it means that they're very much energy aware. And third, it means that they are more wide and global in perspective and see the connection and integration among things. Those are some of the fundamental qualities of indigos. And I guess the fourth would be that these people are highly individualistic and free. They are not wanting to fit in the old rules, old system, but are very much coming from a sense of knowing an inner truth and a way to live. We find most indigos struggle with the system. They don't really fit, they don't really find their place in it, even though many of them are quite successful because they're talented, they're creative, they're very inspired, so they're able to manifest in many cases. On a deeper level, what we see is that indigos carry almost a new blueprint in their consciousness of another way of living, as if they have a sense of a new type of relationship between people, a new way of being empowered. So many indigos are struggling with the feeling of the limits, the boxes, the controls, the small-mindedness, the lack of dignity, the lack of empowerment that the old system gives.
So it's most important for people, for indigos, to get acquainted with their energy, how their energies work within themselves and around themselves.
What we see for indigos is that the opening of the third eye is actually the opening of the perception into the world of energy. The world of energy is here, it's always been here. But when the third eye is closed, we don't perceive it as much. So indigos have let's say another antenna, a more developed antenna into perceiving the energy world, and therefore they're picking up all the vibrations, the ones that are easy, the ones that are not so easy, and they're also carrying a very powerful energy, so they are unknowingly in the beginning using their energy more unconsciously, which then doesn't always work so well, and then gradually indigos learn to use their energy much more consciously and much more creatively. So what we feel for indigo people is that to understand their own energy system, the human energy system, the chakras, to understand the ways that energy moves between people, moves within environments, and then learn to use that for health and well-being.
One of the big problems indigo people have is to find a good partnership. Because they have so many problems with themselves, with each other. They think they don't fit into the society and all these things. Do you have any tips for people regarding that? I know that you wrote about that topic as well.
Well, as you understand your own nature better, that means that you start feeling more at ease with yourself. and also in more acceptance with yourself. And when you're in acceptance of yourself, no matter how you are, you know, you have so many quirky things, but you're like, okay, that's just how I am. You become very attractive, you know? So I think that that's a good tip. In a way, as we are progressing in our relationship, what was seen as difficult because of our high sensitivity is actually becoming a gift. Because we weren't aware of what we were perceiving. So, you know, for me, a person would be so nice to me, and I would just hate them, and I would go like, what's wrong with me? Why do I hate this person? And I actually would feel violence, like I want to kick them, you know? And I'm going, but that's not me. I'm a nice person, and yet I get all these feelings. So understanding energy and understanding how the chakras work gave me a realization of what it was that was so upsetting to my system. And now that I understand it, now I know how to work with it, and these things don't bother me in that way anymore. Yeah? So my sensitivity has become a real gift in our relationship. Yeah. And I could not be with a person that would not have that high amount of sensitivity. So I think that indigos will be, you know, as they understand their nature, they would be attracted to similar types.
So it is a whole different concept of society we are looking at. It's just as if the new way of living would be a conscious usage of the energies around us.
You said the magic words, the conscious use of energy. And I would say also that the new society, or the Indigo society, will be energy-based, and people will be energy-aware. That, you know, things like Feng Shui, which were known in China but didn't exist in the West, are now becoming more and more common. That the awareness of energy flow within buildings, the awareness of energy flow of machines, the awareness of energy between people is becoming more and more common. And that as we understand that more, and as we then use it and work with it, we will radically change the ways that we live, the ways that we interact.
I think that the conscious use of energy will bring a big change, and I think the biggest change will come when we meet each other and we recognize each other as souls. Mm-hmm. The moment you recognize each other as souls, it's like a whole nother relationship is there, you know. So if you can imagine the whole world, you know, somehow wherever you go, in your work, on the street, it's like this recognition of each other's soul. And I think that that's going to bring the big shift on the planet.
What Ritama said about the recognition of souls, I find to be so immensely significant for indigos. Because the opening of the third eye also means that you begin to perceive the higher dimensions of consciousness that open in the upper third eye and the crown chakra and above. And what that means is you begin to recognize that, as Teilhard de Chardin said it so beautiful, we are not human beings having spiritual experiences, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And the opening of the third eye, you begin to perceive the soul that is behind the form, behind the body, behind the personality, and is operating through it. And that awareness is very strong in indigos. Most indigos have a deeply spiritual nature, though not necessarily religious in the traditional religious forms, but a deep sense of connection to something higher, a reverence for life, a sense of being part of something greater, a magic. And that is the, let's say, the soul awareness that is already there. And as indigos are drawn to things like meditation, to energy work, to crystals, to many forms of that open the door to the higher consciousness, we call it the soul presence becomes more and more present. So we feel that at a certain point, the soul awareness will expand. As I see my soul and I see your soul, there's a link and there's a vibration, and that creates more vibrations, more vibrations. And we believe that there is a new kingdom that is emerging on the planet, just as we've had 4 kingdoms up to now: the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, and the human kingdom. We see a 5th kingdom that is emerging that we call the kingdom of the soul.
For people to have a sense of self, it's in a way resting in your own being. That you can feel, hey, this is me. I can rest in me. And as if resting in your being gives you a sense of a natural confidence. You know, you don't have to prove, you can just be. And hopefully, as that sense of being grows, that you listen inside. And in that listening inside, you also can start hearing the voice of your soul, as your soul whispers into you your purpose. And in that freedom of resting in yourself, you can start living your soul's purpose.
I mean, imagine if the whole planet was filled, 6 billion people on the planet
Stell dir vor, wenn der Planet, wenn 6 Milliarden Menschen,
were in their light,
die alle in ihrem Licht wären,
were in their wholeness,
in ihrer Ganzheit
were in balance in their energy.
und in Balance in ihrer Energie.
Imagine the society we could create then.
Stell dir vor, was für eine Gesellschaft wir dann kreieren würden.
Wow. We believe it's possible.
Wir glauben, dass es möglich ist.
It might take a little while.
Es braucht vielleicht eine Weile.
May not happen tomorrow.
Es geschieht wahrscheinlich nicht morgen.
But one light goes on here, another light
Ein
goes on
Licht
there.
geht hier an und ein Licht geht dort an.
And next thing you know, it's like vibration starts getting brighter, brighter.
Im nächsten Moment wird die Vibration immer heller und heller.
That is what we are committed to.
Das ist, wofür wir uns sozusagen widmen. Dem widmen wir uns.
We believe in a world of light.
Wir glauben an eine Welt aus Licht.
Not somewhere out there in another dimension, somewhere here on
Nicht
Earth.
irgendwo in einer anderen Dimension, sondern hier auf der Erde.
And we believe that we, all together, we
Wir
can
glauben,
create it.
wir glauben, dass wir alle zusammen es zusammen kreieren können.
And there's nothing else more important.
Und da ist nichts Wichtigeres.
We see, not too far in the future,
Wir sehen nicht allzu weit in der Zukunft,
that the planet as a whole taking a jump in consciousness.
dass der Planet als Ganzes einen Sprung in seine Bewusstheit nehmen wird.
We believe we're in the 99 degrees before it reaches 100 and it boils.
Wir glauben, dass wir in den 99 Graden sind, vor der 100, bevor es dann beginnt zu kochen.
Look at the green movement,
Schaut euch die ökologische Bewegung an,
the alternative energy movement.
die alternative Energienbewegung.
It's in a way, wherever you look, we see this uprising of positive vibration, positive energy,
Wenn
expanding
du
consciousness.
hinschaust, siehst du dieses Aufkommen von positiven Energien.
Many indigos, the great majority of indigos, are almost driven by the need to manifest that. And we call it purpose. There's a sense of a higher purpose, a sense of a higher calling, a desire to create a better world, a desire to make a contribution. And that becomes almost the center point of an indigo person's life at some point or other, in which they live for that purpose.
Thank you very much.
Fix and
Thank
flip.
you.
Justin?